I'm glad to meet. So I'm going to do a quick introduction. You're going to meet in every one of my crew members, the people that work with us at Snappcode Productions. And some of them are outside trying to make sure that everything goes well. Can we please have that music outside? Like, have it go. Then, yeah, just turn it off. Okay. So, yes, this class is going to be so much more than you guys bargained for, because I have a lot in store for you guys. And like I said, some people that texted me, I said this class is not about money, because everything that's even made from this class, about the profits, are going to be donated to charity. So if someone support us, but it's all about imparting knowledge to everybody necessary, you know, so we can move forward as a community and learn and grow. So look at the person next to you. Look at your neighbor. Just look at your neighbor. Look at your neighbor. Can you see? Look at your neighbor. Smile. Smile at your neighbor. Look at your neighbor. Look at him. See, look at him. Look at everybody. Those are your family members for the next 2 months. So it's not for productions. We don't believe in competitions. We don't compete. So if you invest somewhere, it's your business. We don't compete. We complete. We help each other grow. We help each other become better in life, in whatever way necessary. So that's what I want you to have at the back of your mind. If you're going to be in this class, if you're going to be learning from us, you are not here to compete. You are here to what? To grow. And I will take every seriousness. I will take every seriousness. So if you're not serious, this is the best time to leave now. Because sometimes when we get into the game, I'm not smiley. So, yes. I just had to do that disclaimer and I said, oh my God, I think it was so nice. I'm nice and I'm that way too. So anyways, let's start with, I'll go around and everybody's going to tell me their name, because I can be saying yellow shirts, hi. I can say black top. We don't want to have that. So it's not like I'll remember fully. But at least your neighbor should know that this person is this person. So let's go. I don't need to just point to you. Just go very fast. Bam. Da da da. What do you do? Doom. My name is. What do you do? What do you do? I'm a student. I'm a worker. I'm a wife. I'm a CEO. I'm a techie. That's it. Simple. So my name is this. What you do? My name is this. What you do? Let's go.
My name is Dara. I'm a student.
Okay.
Why do you sound like yourself? Yeah.
I thought you were. Okay, go. Yeah, there we go. Hey, what do you do? What do you do? You do your best, my friend. What do you go? Pick your Sorry? No, you're playing me. You're not playing any songs. Madu. Shows. Shows what? Wait, this Shams or Shams? Okay, don't let me drag it. What's it? Huh? Any? I'm not a student. So I know did you hear anything? Yeah, okay. Did you hear? Her name is Onike. She said she's a brand designer. Product designer, my bad. I accept responsibility. Timmy what? No, to give us job again. You want to come and collect or do you want to? Okay? Nice.
John, cybersecurity.
How are you, my friend? That's good. Don Manuel. Cinematographer. This is you. Okay, I'll not talk. Sorry? Ned. Ned, go. What do you do? Okay. Regna. Oh, you have fresh name on your parents. They try. Cinematographer. Favor. You're doing your best too. CEO. Okay. You are not jobless. You are finding purpose. Say it. You are finding purpose. Copper we? I say I know they like that. Hi. Your name and what you do?
Chelsea, a creative lead.
Creative need. Lead. Different jobs. Wow, like, okay, very nice. I think I'm just gonna be introducing members of my team. Okay. Sorry, they tell me what to do, how to behave. So let me start by introducing my partner and head creative director of Snappcode Production, Adewoye Daniel. So, head of content, Timmy Lane. Say hi. We have Dio. He handles everything behind the scenes, cinematography. See, anything behind the scenes, events, cinematography. Dio is your person. Dio is so good. Come here. Tell them, what's your name? What do you do? He's a party planner. I was like one of the biggest party planners in Lagos. So, let me say. And yes. Then there is Moses. Moses is part of the tech team. You see Moses at the back. Moses, share right now. Then that is Eric. Eric is world renowned. Some of the softwares that are existing now that we cannot mention because of NDA is the builder. So Eric is our head of tech. We're so honored to have him here. Thank you very much. Yeah. So that's Mary. Mary is in our welfare department. So if you need anything, say. So we have other people that are outside, but for the sake of time, let's begin. So like I said, the person next to you is your family member for the next. So when you need anything, you need clarification on something. Then there are some people in class. Sorry, decorum. There's some people in class that pick stuff faster. Class picks up faster. So if you cannot reach me or any member of my team, you can as well. So see, get each other's numbers. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be asking anybody out though. But get each other's numbers. Talk to each other. But it's been nice. You say, oh, we met at Snappcode Academy. We'll shoot your way. So the host of a lighter note. Anyways, you have any questions, ask anybody. Feel free to approach me. I'm very, very approachable. I'm a very chill person. No stress. So if you have any questions, you have any way you wouldn't anyone to pitch you through, you can message and talk to any of them. You understand? We're here for you. We're solely here for you. So our first tutor for today is this person taught me. So you see, I'm bringing someone that taught me to bring you guys up to speed at the beginning of the foundational class. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want with a clapping ovation, let's welcome Martha Simmons, everybody. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. Oh, yeah, so I think that you're supposed to give you this.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Snappcode. Don't mind when he says I taught him. He's a very good photographer. So, yes, so as you already know, my name is Martha, and I am a photographer. I should speak louder again. My voice is not loud enough. Okay, so they said I should still speak louder here. Okay. Okay, hello everyone. So from the introductions we've already had, some of us have already mentioned we're already in the creative space. Photographers, cinematographers, content creators, designers. So I'm going to take a different approach for this class, right? And what I'm going to do is just ask us about our experiences with photography, right? So I want to know, what do you know about photography in general? Like, some of us have maybe handled a camera before. Some of us, the most we've done is maybe with our phones, trying to get whatever content we want to get, right? So I want to know the extent to which you know and understand your camera at the moment. Anybody? Anybody? I don't want to point at people to talk because this has to be like an interactive class. I want to know, what do you know about photography at the moment? Or if you've had any issues, what are the issues you've had? Let's discuss. Okay. Nobody? Now everybody's avoiding eye contact. Okay, please. Just, have you ever handled a camera before? No. You're a product designer, right?
Okay, so I mostly use my phone. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'll say my experience with photography. So it comes out to your group, I think doing my phone, I feel like something was environment,
Okay.
right? And also like from having a feel like from everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a feel like this already, right? So I
Okay.
used to capture moments. But then I realized I was like, God, I was really lost. That it was actually a thing for me, right? Is that really not the way it's supposed to? Yeah. And then I just decided like, okay, so that it actually really like serious.
That's really cool. Okay. All right.
I feel photography is about creativity.
Yeah.
I can
Yes.
like take a picture of something and then just like
Yeah.
and me like I can communicate with whatever I like whatever picture I see. It
Yes.
could be like a child crying, what you're looking
Yes.
at, a child is crying, going through things. It's just
Mhm.
about like thinking one or two and creating taking being creative about it.
Okay. That's really nice. So I want one more person this time around. A guy, somebody, anybody. I think I want to hear from you. Hi.
So,
Okay.
creativity is about creating memories.
Okay.
To me personally, I take pictures of personally just to create memories, and I go back to them to just refresh. And most times I snap my friends and post the way that they are doing. But I don't have the camera to
Okay.
shoot my phone. So they push me to look for that for photograph. So personally, I do
Okay. So that's fantastic, right? I'm glad that I got to hear those your thoughts about photography because it sort of builds a base for our conversation going forward. So one of the things I want to focus on today is how you can manage impressions with your photography. I was taught this myself, and it's something that has stuck with me, and something I feel everybody should know before you properly dive into photography itself. I know we all know that there are different aspects of photography. Oh, there's documentary. Oh, there's portrait. Oh, there's, wedding photography and a whole lot of other things. But you never, Snappcode, how loud that can, how? Okay.
Can you all hear? Oh, very well. Let's project more.
Okay, I'll try. So, yes, with regards to photography, I know we are all aware of the different kinds of photography, right? So you hear there's documentary, there's portraits, there's beauty, there's events, and a whole lot of others. And The truth is, if I ask every one of us now what kind of photography you want to get into, I'm going to be hearing different comments. Oh, I want to get into weddings. If there's money in weddings, I need to make the money. Or you hear, oh, I want to go into beauty photography, you know, and all of that. But the truth is, you also never can tell where you might find yourself, right? So, for instance, you're a beauty photographer and then you get a deal for maybe documentary photography and it's like something you really want to do, right? You might just end up taking the offer. Yeah, so you never can tell where an opportunity might present itself, right? So that's why we need to go through these basic aspects. And I personally feel that, you know, if we all get to understand what I'm about to put us through right now, it would serve as a good foundation for everything else you're going to learn through the course of this next 2 months. 2 months, I believe. Yes, I think it's 2 months. Yes, so impression management. So it's very important we learn this. How many of us have seen pictures where we can tell who took the picture even before we see the name of the photographer? Yeah, you can tell. So there are pictures you see and you're like, I know the person that took this picture. This is Emmanuel's picture. This is Prince Mason's work. How many of us have been able to do that? Why do you think that happens? Why do you think you can easily see a picture and you can tell who took the picture? Sorry? Trademark. Yeah, that is. Yeah. Yeah, that's very correct. So that's the answer. They have a specific tone, or it could be their color tone, it could be the way they edit, it could be literally anything that tells you that this is the person that took this picture. And it's very, very important, right? So one of the key points is excellence. I don't know if we are all Christians here, but I like to sort of add a bit of scripture to it. So sorry, just 1 minute. So excellence is a vital part of your work. One of the things some people might tell you is, it's not like your clients would notice in the first place. So you edit or you do a wacky job and then you feel nobody's going, you know, that audio keeps playing in my head. No one's going to know. Who's going to know, right? Because you've sort of edited something that you know you yourself would not be able to accept. So excellence is very key to the things that we do, right? So before you get into photography, you have to ask yourself, who am I? Like, what do I want to be able to project to others? What should be my essence as a photographer, right? Some people would have themes with regards to their photography. So one of the things I do is I also head photography for my church. And one of the things I tried to do was, at the beginning of my work, I would sort of identify what I want us to do. So what do you want to achieve? I believe it's why people have mood boards, right? So before you go, a photographer goes on any job, whether weddings or beauty or whatever it is, they discuss beforehand with the client. They discuss beforehand with the bride and groom, and they try to understand who these people are, right? And they try to understand, they even get the colors, the outfits. Okay, what are you wearing? What do you want to see? How do you want to do it? So there are photographers who would sort of create a template for the kind of image they want to shoot before that day, right? So those things are very, very important when you are going into photography. You need to ask yourself the question, what do I want to be able to communicate with others when I am doing photography? What should I be saying? Some people, for them, their photography, all they're about is, it has to be clean, it has to be simple. That's all I want. And so when you look at their pictures, most times you just see, oh, this picture is so clean. How is it so clean? The thing is, from the onset, they've already registered in their minds that, oh, I want to be able to take clean photos. I want all my photos to be clean, right? So they already have that at the back of their minds, and that is what they are working on. So you have to have a theme for your images. What do you want to communicate to your audience? Another person also once told me something. He said, photography is knowing what to remove and what to add to your pictures. So if you start out in photography, some of the errors you would have would be issues like you take a picture and you get home, you feel, oh, I've taken the most fantastic image ever, right? Because it's not like cinematography where you are shooting a video, so you can easily remove something out of it. Photography is still frames. I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit harder because you know you're shooting just one picture. So you get home, you're like, I took the perfect shot. And then you put it on your system and then you zoom a little closer. You find, oh, her dress is not properly done. I can see something there. Or maybe her eyes are actually closed and you did not notice. Or maybe the environment is sort of messed up in a way. And you're like, why didn't I just move her to this side to take the proper picture? If I had moved her here, the picture would have been better. Or if I had done this, or if I had just adjusted her clothes a little bit more, I would not have to do this in post-production, right? So you have to know what to remove and what to add to your pictures. How do you position your subjects? Maybe if you just move a little bit further, you can get the right frame. Or maybe if you just move a little bit closer, you can get what you need. So it's very important that we understand some of these things because people do not know your name. People do not know, oh, that is Mr. Sheyi or that is Mr. Olamide. What they know is this picture, who took this picture, right? This picture looks amazing and all of that. So people get affected by what they see online. So what do you want? A photographer is a person who you guide the eyes of your audience. You show them what they want to see. You show them what you want them to see, not what they want to see. You show them what you want them to see per time. So you have the power. It's just that I don't think we are always very much aware of that. But whatever you post online, right, you are sort of telling people what to see, what to know about you, or what to know about this person you are posting about. So you have that power to determine the emotions. You determine how an environment should look, right? You determine a whole lot of things. So it's for you to, when you know you're holding onto a camera, you are taking the right shot, the right emotion, you are waiting for the moment. Another thing I also got to understand was you need to be able to wait for the moment. So you're taking pictures, you're not getting what you want. You need to be able to wait to achieve what it is you want with that image, right? So impression management is very, very important. So you have to work towards becoming a person with whatever it is you're doing. What kind of person do you want to be with your pictures? You work towards it. You're not going to get it now. I mean, it's not something that if you walk out of this room now, you say, oh, I'm a photographer that knows how to take excellent images. I can take the entire world and it will look like the entire world, But when you leave this class, you have to think on it, right? And you have to write things down. What kind of photographer do I want to be? Aside from, oh, I'm a documentary photographer, I am a portrait beauty photographer. Fantastic, you can be that. But what do you want to communicate? What is going to be your essence as a photographer? What will make you different from the other guys out there, right? What would you be communicating to the world with your pictures? What do you want them that when they see your pictures, they can say, oh, this is Yemi because this is how our picture looks, right? So it's very important that you know what defines you and your work. Yeah, so I think those things are really important. Another thing that you should look at, I already spoke about identity. I mean, like I've said, right? Consistency. So This might not necessarily apply to someone who is just starting out, because the truth is you're still trying to find yourself, so you might not be very consistent in the images you dish out. But it's very important that as you go along, you become more consistent with your colors and your deliverables. Would I call them deliverables? It sounds like we're in corporate world, but you get more consistent in your pictures, so to say. So, like I said, when you know what defines you and you're working towards it, you get to improve on your work, and it becomes even more consistent what you deliver. It's just like saying, oh, maybe Prince Mason did a picture, and then you cannot tell his picture looked like this yesterday and his picture looked like that today. It doesn't work out, right? There's a consistency to the kind of pictures that you put out there. So yeah, those things are really, really important towards establishing yourself as a photographer or even a cinematographer. I think it applies to everybody, right? Another thing we know is the fact that photography is storytelling, right? Storytelling. I'm actually not loud. Is that the case? I'm not loud. I'm loud. Okay. Photography is storytelling as well. I see it as storytelling. Aside from knowing what to remove and what to add to your pictures, you should be able to tell stories with whatever it is that you're shooting. So what do you want people to see when they look at your work? Right? It's you that would determine that, right? Because you sort of you determine the ideology behind that picture. So the idea stems from you. You're seated at home, you want to shoot someone, or I mean, you have a wedding to cover. It all stems from you. You cannot shoot what you are not aware of, or you cannot shoot what you don't know, right? So it's very important that you have what it is you want to achieve at the end of the day penned down. Discuss with your clients, oh, this is what I think we can do, feedback session, all of that, and then you go ahead with whatever it is you want to do. Yeah? Do we have any questions before I move forward? Sorry, are you a crew member? You're a student. Are you taking a video? Are you practicing? Okay. Because I saw the camera and I was like, okay, something is going on here. Okay. That's nice. Okay. Okay.
You said something about like when you see a photographer's work and kind of tell, everybody asks like what's the line between that and like really like different words like together like when you sort of like go out of yourself and do different things. So how do you like what's the balance between like being like exploring different things and also like maintaining that consistent that people know this is this.
I think that consistency doesn't necessarily mean that you should not go outside of the box. I think it means as long as there is some level of growth in what it is you're doing, right? That sort of covers everything, right? So in this case scenario now, a person who does beauty photography, for instance, I think maybe Prince Mason I've still used. If he decides to maybe do wedding today, the truth is you're still going to see elements of here because that's what he does already. It's already in him, right, to do that kind of picture. So you might not necessarily see it at first, right, but you will notice that there will be traces of, sorry, what's your name again? Onike. Okay. There'll be traces of Onike on, like, it's just like your product design, right? You design stuff, people can tell that this is Onike's work. Even at the office, I don't know if maybe you have other designers you work with. Everybody has their style of design. So you cannot necessarily, even if you try to copy another person's style, you will still see traces of your own style in that work because you have your own mind and you have a way with which you create stuff. So you can improve on your skills, but that doesn't take away your touch as a designer. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? I hope you've been able to take something with what I said with regards to impression. Because I think it's very important. So knowing what to add and what to remove in your pictures would help you a great deal. And it sort of saves you a lot of stress in post-production. I want to say post-production like as if you are doing cinematography, but it saves you a lot of stress in editing, right? Because when editing, you know that, okay, even from my frame, I have taken a particular image and I've been able to remove this from my frame when I was shooting. So there's no need for me to have to go through the whole trying to remove a dustbin from behind my subject or trying to adjust her dress. There's no need for that because you already gave yourself less work by just tilting the camera, maybe 45-degree or, just a little bit, and you got your shot. One of the things I try to tell my people is whenever you're shooting, make sure you're getting it right on camera, because there are some people where they shoot fantastic images on camera and you get to do very little in editing because you've already achieved, you've already achieved your shots, right? So you've already gotten the lighting correctly. I mean, the way she stood facing the light was perfect. The dressing, you're able to adjust everything you needed to adjust right on set. Your editing would be seamless. You would not have any stress at all because you got it right on camera. So another thing is you have to be someone who pays keen attention to detail. I mean, it's going to take a while to get used to paying attention to detail if you're not someone that actually does pay attention to detail. I know I've struggled with that also. I'm not perfect. I take some pictures and I'm not noticing after I've edited that, what's that ladder doing over there? How did I not see it when I was taking this picture? So there are some things that you have to be able to spot when you're taking an image, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't, you'll be faced with a lot of work when you're editing your pictures. So those things are very, very important. So start paying attention to detail. Pay attention to your model's dress. Pay attention to her makeup. Pay attention to how she wants to pose. Pay attention to her hair. Because the truth is, maybe you don't know the kind of job maybe the makeup artist is, but by the time she's getting her picture, she's not going to say, oh, this place we use, this light setup, or this makeup artist. No, she's not going to say that. She's going to say, oh, this photographer, you did not get my picture right. You're the one she's going to talk to because you're the one that delivered to her the picture, right? So it's very important that you pay attention to detail. Oh, I'm seeing myself. Nice. Okay, so on to the next thing, basics of the camera. Okay. There are three main settings of a camera that we all need to know, right? Three main settings of a camera that we need to know. Very, very important. They are your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO. Your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO. Very, very, very important. Now, I personally feel for a class you're starting with, right? If you can understand these basic settings and how to navigate each and every one of them, you are fine. And why I say so is because photography is all about lights, and these settings control lights, right? You will still get into the topic of, lights like this and understanding natural light and all of those integrities. But for the camera itself, the three main settings that you need to be aware of, that you need to know and understand really well: shutter speed, ISO, and aperture. Yeah? I think we have something like this on our phones. Sorry, 1 minute. Okay. So I will start from shutter speed, right? So shutter speed is the length of time that the camera. Please, can I have your camera? Sorry, I did not bring mine today. Thank you. I feel like I'm interrupting you. Are you taking a picture now? I can use it, right? Thank you. So shutter speed is the length of time the camera shutter is open, exposing light onto the camera sensor. So essentially, it is how long your camera spends taking a photo, right? So sadly, I cannot show you the sensor because the sensor is a very sensitive part of the camera, and I don't think I should open this. But when you remove your lens, right, you would see like a glass square. A glass square. It's the sensor anyways. So that's where the light hits to create whatever image you're taking. When you do, if you have a camera, you'll be able to check that out and see it. But it's a very sensitive part, and most times it's not advisable to always leave that open, because if that part gets damaged, yeah. So it's a very sensitive aspect of your camera, and that's why you always have, even for the camera body, when they are selling it to you, they have that camera cover that covers the camera body, right? So it's very important that you always protect that part of your camera. Okay, so the shutter speed, what does the shutter speed do? The shutter speed is the part of your camera that shows the 1/100. I don't know how many of us can. Let me just go from here down. So this is your shutter speed, this 1/100, right? So this is your shutter speed for those that. So this is your shutter speed, the 1/100, right? Your shutter speed. Oh, okay, sorry. Your shutter speed is the 1/100. So this is your shutter speed. The 1/100 is your shutter speed. Yeah? The 1/100 is your shutter speed. So that is your shutter speed. And how I like to explain to people in layman terms is, you know when you see pictures where they are shooting cars, and then there's this blur that goes with the cars, like it's a long line, right? That effect. Most times people achieve that with the use of their shutter speed, majorly with the use of their shutter speed. Or you see when they're having like sports, and then there's racing happening, right? And then you can see the photographer has captured a still image of somebody moving at such a fast speed. The shutter speed also helps with that. So those two scenarios, cars on the streets moving really fast. I mean, you see a lot of maybe New York photographers also doing that, and then you see cars are moving really fast, and then all you can see are the lines. And then you see pictures where they are shooting people racing, and then you can capture the still sharp image of those cars, or those, whatever they call them, I don't know, of those machines. And then it's sharp. It's still the shutter speed. What does that do? What does that mean? It means that your shutter speed helps you to freeze those moments, right? Depending on what you want to achieve, really. So when your shutter speed, the lower your shutter speed, right, the more likely you would achieve images where there's a bit of blur in movement. So when your shutter speed is lower, so let's say 1/50, 1/25, 1/10, you'd see a lot of blurry movements. So the person would not be still. So if the person moves it, so you see photographers will take as well, and then there are different faces. It's because they try to achieve that also using the shutter speed as well, because shutter speed sort of helps. It doesn't once it's lower, 1/50, 1/25, you tend to achieve that blurred effect with your images. I don't know if that was clear enough in layman terms, but that is the kind of effect you achieve with a lower shutter speed. But another thing that also happens is that more light would enter in through the camera. So when you're trying to achieve something like that, just know that the more you reduce your shutter speed, the more light you would have entering into your frame. So it's going to be really overexposed if you do not balance out that light with the other settings, which would be your aperture and ISO, right? Okay, but that is a special effect that the shutter speed helps you to handle. Okay, now moving on to the aperture. You have your phones, and I know a lot of us like portrait shots on the iPhones, and I think Android devices as well. So what those type of pictures do is that when you're taking a picture, you are blurring your background, and then the entire thing is blurred, you're the only one in focus. That's exactly what your aperture does for you. So you see a lot of really nice beauty shots where it's just the person's face in focus, very sharp, and then you see that the background is all blurred out. They used the aperture to achieve that, except if they did that in editing as well, but your aperture can help you achieve that. Let me show. I think, does it have it stated here? Your aperture is f/4.5. So the one that has the f is your aperture, right? The one that has the f is your aperture on your camera. So the lower your aperture, so depending on the type of lens you buy, sorry, I hope I'm still taking everybody along, because I sort of feel like I've just been talking, never just looking at me. You know, I'm not seeing people nodding their head or saying, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. And everybody just staring at me and like, okay, please help my ministry. I hope I'm clear, like you understand what I'm saying. Am I confusing? Do you think I should go back on something I'm saying? Because I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. Or the class is boring, you're like, oh, this girl should just finish and go beg. Let's get to practical. Okay. Okay, so the aperture is, what do you say? You get, the truth is, when you understand these things, right, these things I'm trying to explain, you will typically be able to just go outside with your camera and adjust your settings and shoot. When I started photography, it took me a while to be able to balance these settings, because you would have to be thinking, oh, aperture, if I increase to 250, 300, you're trying to typically just balance out the settings in your head. So the truth is, when you start out, it might take you a little bit longer to balance out your settings before shooting, because whatever you set on your camera affects your images. Remember what I said about the impression management in the beginning, right? You determine what people see. So you have to have an image in mind. If you don't have an image in mind and you just go outside and shoot, people can tell from your pictures. It's not something that you need to tell them and say, oh, this picture looks scattered. I will know, because I'm trying to edit the picture. What's the framing of this picture? How did this person take this picture? You don't even know where the editing will start from, because it was obvious that there was no concept to taking this image. So it's not a pointer and kill or a point and shoot. It's more of, I'm home, let me create my mood board. What do I want to achieve? And then I get my subject and I can now frame the subject the way I plan to frame the subject. Not, oh, today, let's go and shoot. And then you go and then you're just, and then you go to edit. And then the person that is even editing for you is like, God, do I crop left? Do I crop right? Because there's no framing. But then if you work with some photographers that are really, really good, right, you see that, okay, there's a framing to this picture. Whoever is coming to edit for you would edit and be happy, because they don't need to think about what to crop out. There's a composition to the image. They know that, oh, I just need to adjust this setting a bit and I'm good. Some pictures, they might not even need major editing. Why? Because there was a mood board. The person shot the way they were supposed to shoot the picture. And then you know that the editing that needs to be done is little or minimal, and that's how to just help yourself, because why are you spending 10 hours editing a picture that should have taken, I don't know how long, but lesser time, right? So your aperture, very important, right? It determines your depth of field. Am I boring you? So it determines your depth of field, and it also affects the light in your image. So you see how on your phones, Android, Apple, whatever the device is, you can take pictures and blur your background. Your aperture helps you achieve that. So when your aperture, and you see there are some lenses that, I mean, you can get your aperture from 1.4, no problem. So an aperture of f1.4, f1.8, you can still achieve it at f2 sha, f2.8 as well. You would see that when you shoot at that aperture, you have a blurry background. The lower your aperture, the more depth of field. So the lower you go with your aperture, the more blurred out your background will be. But the more light that will come into your camera. It's the same thing with shutter speed. Shutter speed, the lower your shutter speed, the more light that comes into your camera, but your images would have that blurry effect. For aperture, the lower your aperture, the more light that comes into your camera, but the more depth of field. So if you want to achieve like a beauty shot, or I want to take a beauty shot of this guy, right? And I just crop it, and I want to blur the background, I have to take him from, because it's too close to the wall, right? So he comes a little bit closer, and I'm able to take his picture, and everything is blurred because I'm using maybe an f1.4 or an f1.6. That depth of field, more light comes in. The higher your aperture, that is your 4.5, 5.0, 6, 7, 8, everything gets in focus. Everything gets in focus, and the less light, so you're reducing the amount of light that would come into your camera. So the darker the image, typically, but the sharper the background and all. So you can see how this comes in, or maybe it plays in your mind, oh, I'm shooting a wedding photography. And in your head, you want to capture the bride and groom dancing with all of their friends. Maybe the bride and groom, they're in the middle, and then the friends are all around them, spraying them money. What do? You cannot do 1.4, because if you do 1.4, what's going to happen? You're going to blow, you're going to do depth of field for everybody. Like everybody around is going to be like, why are you blurring us out? So you're going to be shooting like f5, f6, because you want to be sure that everybody around there is in focus, depending on what you want to achieve. Like I said, every photographer is also kind of like a designer, in the sense that you have your own style. So everybody has their style. You might see a photographer that will say, me, I want to blur everybody out though. But the truth is, you shall understand the concepts. It's not that you went to go and take a picture and you did not know what you set in your camera, because one of the things I get told every time is the fact that you can't take back moments. You cannot tell the bride that, you see, let's just go back to the venue again. Just wear your white gown. Let's just take the picture. And it's not like anything happened though, but so you can't do that. So you know that you have just that moment. Photography is very tricky, because you have to have extra people covering for you, because you cannot say, my battery, maybe the moment they're about to kiss, you just take the picture and your battery